the Springboard Plancha podcast. Oh my goodness, what a night it was last night at Survivor Series in Chicago. So we got to start off with talking about the big thing that happened last night. The biggest return in WWE history. R-Truth returning after being gone for over a year.
Heck yeah.
That's the same way that Triple H opened up that press conference. I was like, damn, he stole my thing that I was gonna do. I was gonna do the exact same thing. Me and Triple H have the same minds, you know. So, but I am Johnny T, joined by the Tribal Cheese and Mr. Zero. We're here to bring you a review of everything that happened last night and see how things go tonight. But CM Punk is back, as was predicted by me on Monday. And my goodness, that's where we're going to go ahead and start, because what a moment it was. I don't know about y'all, but I did not expect it to happen once that logo came up. Of course, I should know better than that in the Triple H era, the couple of times that he's done that. But what a moment in time. I honestly marked out, because I mean, we don't get those kinds of moments anymore, or very rarely do we get those kinds of moments like that. But it was a neat moment. It only lasted about, I think 2 minutes, but it was good enough. I don't think you could have done that any better if you were. And what it leads to going forward, I guess we're all going to find out about that. But I'm very excited, obviously. And it happened, and here we are. So we did not waste 10 minutes last time. It was actually worth it. So. Well, what do y'all guys think about that? Because I'm just honestly really excited. I think there's a lot of things they can do here. But as far as just how they did it that night, I don't know how else. I mean, you could have done it a couple different ways, but it was pretty good. It was great. I enjoyed it.
Go ahead. Go
Um,
ahead, Zero.
um, I guess we'll just see how this kind of plays out in the future, man. I remember a segment in the past where uh, CM Punk was telling Triple H, is like, this isn't CM Punk talking to Triple H. This is Phil Brooks talking to Paul Levesque. He's like, he's just telling him he's like Vince McMahon when he dies. He's like, it's not gonna be the end of it, because they're gonna be, WWE still gonna be ran by the doofus son-in-law.
That was the
So
infamous pipe bomb promo, wasn't it? The one from
yeah,
the one from 12 years
yeah, it
ago at this
was.
point now. And
Yeah,
how far we've come
it
in
was.
12 years.
So, so I'm real. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in the future, seeing if how they play that out. If they're even gonna bring Triple H back for that, I doubt it.
Did
He's
you
probably just gonna stay in the back.
did you like the return though? Like how it was presented?
Uh, I
Be
wish it should have been
honest. Be
presented.
honest. Just be
I
honest.
wish it should have been presented differently. I didn't like that they kind of stole Randy Orton's fire. You know,
That's fair.
he hit a couple. I think the night should have ended with Randy Orton since he had been out for so long. But I understand CM Punk hadn't been there for X amount of years. So, like I said, I
9.
think they could have done it differently. I know it's Chicago, but you know, this was all based around Randy Orton coming back. So, it's like, hey, Randy's back, and it's like, oh,
Was
but
it though?
hmm, I thought it was.
No, yeah, I
The
get
night,
it.
Monday night, they made it about
Knowing
who's the fifth member, and then all night it's like, is Randy showing up? We haven't heard from him. We haven't seen him. What's going
yeah.
on? All night it was Randy, Randy, Randy. So it would have been something interesting if it was about, hey, is Randy showing up? Randy showing up, and then CM Punk comes out as the fifth member or something. But so I kind of had that in my mind. I was like, maybe Randy doesn't show up
I think
and CM Punk comes out. They threw
yeah.
everybody for a twist.
I think that's what a lot of people, based on what I was seeing, were kind of thinking might have, if he was going to come back. He might be the surprise fifth member. Randy Orton just doesn't come out at all, or something happens like that. And they were for a little bit making you wonder if that was actually the plan. And
Yeah.
then Randy comes out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think when Randy didn't come out, there was some CM Punk chances.
Oh yeah,
So
they were kind of in and out all night. It was interesting,
yeah.
but it definitely more so in the main event.
Hmm.
What you got, Cheese? Like you have something to say. Go
Are
ahead
the
and
two of you
spit. Go ahead.
finished?
Go ahead and spit it all out. I know you got
Are the
things to
two,
say.
are the two of you guys quite finished? Because I'm kind of sick of this opening segment already.
Let me go
I'm
ahead and
sick of it.
let me go ahead and just take down all of
All
these
right.
notes while you talk.
Let's get it out. Everybody needs to grab a pen and paper because we're going to talk about this return.
I'm not going
This
to. You can go
return,
ahead and talk.
this return is the most transparent return that there ever was. Google had CM Punk's picture on Survivor Series. If you looked up Survivor Series, Google had it. So everybody knew he was coming. He was at the press conference before it started.
No, that's a
I
lie.
mean,
But
no, he was there. He was right there in Chicago. Everybody knew he was there.
he lives there.
Yeah, well, he was right there at the press conferences too. There's documented. I saw pictures of him answering questions. Everybody knew he was coming back.
Fair
I
enough.
mean,
it happened.
this
So
was leaked. This was leaked weeks ago. This was leaked before we had our last our first episode. So, look, guys,
and y'all didn't want to
CM
talk
Punk's
about it.
back. He's 44 years old. My guess is that he's back. He's going to probably lose more than he wins. I don't see him having a title anytime soon. It's really weird the spot that they brought him back because the babyfaces just won, and they bring him out as if to say like, "Here's your new challenger," but they bring back Punk as a face. I mean, it also doesn't make any sense because what's the point here? I think the way that it was handled kind of didn't make too much sense to me. I think the whole Shinsuke buildup kind of led me to believe that it was gonna be like a thing. But you got five faces in the ring along with Randy Orton, who's just returned, and then you got babyface CM Punk coming back. So where do you go from here? Because face versus face historically, it's just not that interesting. So you know, I preferred that Punk actually had a part if he was going to make his return outside of just coming in. It was a really weird spot. I mean, they just wrapped up their victory. They're all doing their rounds, and then Punk comes out. Typically, that spot is reserved for people that are going to be the challenger, for the people that are in the ring, for the person that just won in the ring. This was more of just like bringing him out. Here he is. He doesn't have an opponent, but let's just give you guys, what you guys have been looking for all week long. I think it was really weird to have two returns back to back the way they did too. I think that was a little weird, but he's back. He puts on decent matches. I don't think he's had a match a stinker in probably like the last 2 years he's been with AEW. But if I know WWE is that they're not gonna put any gold on him anytime soon. They're gonna make him earn his way back.
Sure.
So yeah, they're gonna make him earn his way back. I don't expect to win at the Royal Rumble either. That's just
No.
and I don't expect to win for Randy Orton either. So those are my opinions on CM Punk. I'm not super thrilled he's back. I don't think that WWE needed him because you got a ton of talent in the ring right now.
Sure.
But the people want to see CM Punk. Clearly, he's a nostalgic pastime, like that T-shirt that JT's wearing right now. So, we'll see what happens from here. But you heard it here first. He's not going to win any gold. Not anytime soon.
Well,
on that, I did put one. I did put one note. I put CM Punk, new leader of Judgment Day, possibly ?
I mean, it could.
That
I
could make
don't.
some sense because I don't know what they're doing with them.
Yeah. Cool. Oh yeah. We'll get. Yeah. So on the whole CM Punk thing, just to kind of continue that a little bit. I do think that what this does is it just continues to open those doors that WWE continues to just open in this new era that is officially, I mean, if it hasn't already been, the Triple H era. Gone is the old Vince McMahon way of thinking, which wasn't always all bad, right? There was a lot of good things that happened because of it, but he's just not in the room anymore. And now with Triple H officially at the helm, being the head of it all, this was a Triple H call. This whole entire thing with CM Punk was a Triple H call. This was not I mean, he said it himself. It was him and maybe Nick Khan that were the two guys that spearheaded this whole thing with CM Punk. Had a talk with him earlier in the week, and they got this thing done pretty quick. Even though the rumors were all there, based on what they said, they didn't even really have a serious talk about it until earlier this week. They saw an opportunity to do something special. They made that special moment. Now we're going to find out what they do with that special moment. And on the baby faces versus baby faces thing, yeah, historically it can be kind of tough to do, but you've done it before, and you can do it. You can, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you can. Whenever you build a program versus a baby face with a baby face, someone has to kind of have the heelish kind of thing, and I think they kind of already started planting the seeds of that last night off camera, with Seth Rollins looking like he was visibly upset about CM Punk. That's a work. That's not a shoot. That's a work, I think. Or it could be a half and half. Maybe he is not happy
you're
about
right.
it.
I don't
Maybe
think he is
maybe
happy
maybe
about it,
maybe he is not happy about it, but you got to play it up, right? Cuz that's your, to me, I feel like that's your WrestleMania night 1 program. Build it up, have Seth Rollins go against CM Punk in night 1 of WrestleMania. That's a program right there already. But any one of those guys in that ring, he can have a program with them. You just build yourself opportunities to do some special things. I'm not saying he needs to be in the main event every pay-per-view or every night. I don't think that's what you need to do. But you have another piece of that pie to just continue to build on this thing that that you're growing there. If you're Triple H, this is your thing. You run with it. You build it, and people will come. It's that build the dreams kind of thing. If you build it, they will come. Even more so, I feel like the WWE had an opportunity. They didn't need it, but they had an opportunity to bring somebody in that basically on the other side, on the other side in AEW, was their number one guy for a little bit. Number one t-shirt sales guy, all that fun stuff. And they saw an opportunity and they took it. And here we are. And I thought the crowd was great on that moment. Obviously, it was going to be. And it was shocking. So it did take away from Randy, unfortunately, a little bit. But it was still good. I enjoyed it, and I'm excited to see what they do. We're all going to, not that we weren't going to tune in on Monday anyways, but we're definitely all going to tune in on Monday. I want to see what he says. I want to see what he has to say after being gone for 9 years, and after literally like almost a year or so ago, like visibly talking shit about the WWE on AEW programming. And now he's here. So I want to know, are they going to give him a mic and just say what you want in good context, or what are they going to do? We're going to find out on Monday, and that's exciting to me. In 4 or 5 months, we may say in retrospect this was horrible and it didn't work out, but for right now, they saw a moment, they took it, and I appreciate that WWE did that, because WWE even just 2 years ago doesn't make this moment happen. They just go along with what they're doing, and whether it's good or it's better or for worse, they just go along, and then some people are just going to get bored of it. Some people are going to be like, it's just WWE. This was not a typical WWE thing, in my opinion. This was something that was completely outside the box, because they've shunned this guy for 9 years. But now, if that doesn't tell you that the changing of the guard has changed here, I don't know what does. But that was a cool way to end the show. Very, very exciting moment all over social media. I think his video already of his return, if I'm not mistaken, the last time I checked on YouTube, it's pretty close to 1 million at this point, which is insane for a 24-hour turnaround. But just tells you the impact of one guy. But it takes two to tango, and I guess we'll see how it goes going forward.
Quick question. How many times? I'll say quick question. How many times did you view that out of those million views?
I saw
Half a million.
I saw it at least 3 or 4 times, because the first time I saw it obviously was live, and I was marking out way too damn much to even really pay attention to what was actually happening. I was just shocked. And that music hit, and I was like, this is actually fucking happening. No way, right? I mean, we all joked about it, and we all kind of felt like, it was probably gonna happen. But I mean, and it was always that I'll believe it when I see it kind of thing, and it
I think
happened.
I think I felt like you were doing like jumping jacks and push-ups as soon as this
Oh,
music started
it
popping
was
off. Like,
yeah because
yeah,
yeah because yeah because I'm a fucking wrestling mark. I love wrestling. I love everything about
I
it,
know.
and that moment is a moment that I honestly just never. I mean, all of us did. Never thought was going to happen again. I mean, it's never say never, but I mean, geez, based on everything that we heard and that we've seen, there's no way these two were going to be able to get back together, right? WWE and CM
Uh,
Punk.
yeah.
And
Honestly, I was already about to turn off the TV after the match is over, and then I'm like looking away, and I hear music, and I'm like, whoa, what the heck? Like, it was
I kind of thought the
it's
same
definitely a
thing.
surprise.
I kind of thought the same thing, and then I saw them do that like pan out thing, and I was like,
Hmm.
all right, is this? I was just I was just really quickly. I was like, is this it? But then I didn't hear anything, and I was like, okay, well, it's over. And then the the
The music
little
pop.
scratching thing and the music. I was like, oh wow! And I thought for a second maybe they're gonna troll us, right? It's just they're just gonna play his music and he's not even gonna come out. I thought it's a
All right,
troll. It's a
guys.
troll job, but
I
yeah,
sat here and I listened to this peacefully, but I'm going to tell you what happens with guys like this when they come back after a long layoff, after the way they left this business. What happens with guys like this? They're used as a stepping stone to catapult the talent that we already have. So, to your point, John, Seth Rollins, if he gets CM Punk at WrestleMania, he is not dropping the belt to him. And
well,
they're going to bring back CM Punk to build the talent that they already have. They did it before, time and time again. Whenever they bring people back like this, what happens to CM Punk's legacy when he comes back and he starts losing
this is
again and again and again
this
to
is what
these top talent that we already have?
this is where I play devil's advocate for just a minute, where I say I agree with that because that's historically how these things have gone. But this is a different time. We're in a different time with WWE with unpredictability. I mean,
Yeah,
for real. I mean, I don't
I
know
agree with
I don't
that.
know what's gonna happen. Who knows? Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe he does come back and has 4 matches leading up to WrestleMania and he loses all of them. I don't know, but I do
I
think
don't
this
think
is the opportunity that you have to have good programs with a guy that can talk his way out of a paper bag against other guys that can talk their way out of a paper bag. This is an opportunity. Take it, use it, and see what happens. If it builds a guy up like Seth Rollins to even a higher level, then that's a good thing. I don't see how that's a bad thing. But if he happens to beat him, then what a moment again. Doesn't mean he has to have a 2 year title reign. It can be 2 months, you know. Uh, but and it could also be. I mean, there's just so many things you can do, in my opinion. You have another piece of the pie that you can do so many things with. Does he come in and just act like a John Cena kind of thing, where he just he still has good programs but builds the guys up? Could be. Who knows? But just don't see how this is a bad thing. I don't think it is. Not right now. In 4 or 5 months, we can have that discussion of whether or not it is a bad thing or not. But as of right now,
we'll
I think it's a good thing. Why not pick up talent? It's like your favorite football team or basketball team picking up talent. You just figure out what
Now,
happens later. Whatever.
yeah, I
It
mean,
is what it
we
is.
got we got he's got the talent, right? But he's also comes with a ton of problems, right?
Well,
This is
that's
why we don't re-sign
that's
Jeff Hardy. We probably aren't going to look at Sasha Banks for a while because of the way they left the business. So,
I
you know
wouldn't
what I
I
mean?
wouldn't I
Like,
wouldn't rule that out.
I
but
wouldn't rule Sasha Banks
this
out.
this
I wouldn't rule
from what I
I
hear,
wouldn't rule anybody out at this point if CM Punk can come back to WWE. I'm just saying. But go ahead.
no, he's here, right? This actually sets that this actually sets precedent now where wrestlers that are displaced can come back, right? But after a set amount of time. So like Triple H did say, he shouldn't be the same person that he was 10 years ago.
Sure.
Well, that's true, right? But from what we understand, he got into a backstage altercation with the boss at AEW
Can't
so
deny
much that he
that.
felt so threatened that he said, "I want him fired immediately." They let go of this bell cow, right? They let him
I mean, you're
go.
right. You're right.
I think we're inheriting. I think what you said was we're gonna find out if he's a problem in the near future. I think if there's any problems, it's gonna be this type of problem with him. It's gonna be backstage. It's going to be the way he rubs the other
This is
wrestlers.
yeah,
It's going to
sure.
be those types of problems, and then we're going to find out that if Punk is worth what we brought him in for, because if he causes other talent to want to leave, because this has happened in the past too, where wrestlers have come in and pushed out other wrestlers. If he comes in and has other wrestlers wanting to leave, this could be
Yeah.
a problem. I don't think that CM Punk is the most conducive wrestler to a connected locker room.
Sure.
So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
But he's gonna put on some great matches.
For sure.
We'll see if it's the right move in the future,
Yeah.
though.
From what I heard also, at least because I was actually kind of wondering about that too, but from what I heard, the talent in the ring did know he was gonna come out before he came out. Which, okay, that leads me to believe then that I think most of the reactions in the ring were all worky shoots, if you want to call them that. But I think at some point, if they haven't already done that, they probably already have all kind of talked. And sometimes, I mean, I don't know. Well, I guess we'll find out because you all know you go to your job and you don't like everybody there, but you like half the people there. You don't like half the people there, but you put up with them because you're trying to, you have one goal, right? Doesn't mean you have to be friends. You have to go have a drink with them every night, but you work with them, right? Doesn't mean you go and punch them in the face, but I guess it just remains to be seen what's going to happen.
CM
What's going
Punk
to
might
happen
punch
here.
him in the face.
And I was actually talking to a friend last night about it, and this could work. I think just because I don't know, there was something about the AEW and how their operation works that, as much as I think CM Punk wanted to be a part of it, it just doesn't work for a guy like him. I don't know. I feel like he's better suited for the structure of a WWE system now because he wants to work a little bit safer. He doesn't want to work too dirty. Those guys over there are kind of the Wild West, and they operate like it inside and out. And it works for them for their program, right? For what they want to present. For a guy like him, I don't know. Obviously, it didn't because too many backstage things and too many politics back there because there's nobody really in charge over there. There's like 10 people in charge. Maybe with a little bit of structure here, it could work better. It just remains to be seen. That's the exciting part, though. At the end of the day, in 5 months, if it doesn't work out, it's fine. WWE moves on. They continue to be what they are. But they have an opportunity to do something really, really cool. And I'm here for it. I'm going to see what happens with it. But that we don't have nothing else to talk about today, right? Oh, that's right. We have a show. We have a show. We have a whole rest of the show to look at. Okay. All right. I guess let's just start there with the main event, the men's War Games match. Everybody showed up that was supposed to, right? The Randy Orton return. Before all the CM Punk stuff happened, I really, really, really enjoyed the way that Randy Orton came out. I did not expect the fake cash in. I was like, oh, I did not even think about that when we were talking on Monday. I was like, I didn't even think, oh, he could actually cash that in if he wants to, right? I mean, he can do it anytime. And then the Randy Orton music came out, and the way the crowd really fed into it, and Randy Orton he looks amazing. I'm glad that he looks good, and I was just kind of sitting there like, all right, take a bump, Brandy, take a bump, Brandy, come on. Okay, all right, cool, get up. All right, cool. RKO, all right, we're back in business, bro. We got Randy Orton back. He's good to go, man. It was awesome to see Randy, and I mean that was pretty much it. I feel like the rest of the match was kind of your standard tornado, match between them all, and they all work very well together. But man, that Randy Orton moment was where it was at for that match for me. And then of course the guy ceases to. I don't know how many times you can have variations of the RKO, but the guy never ceases to amaze me by bringing out a new different version of it with someone getting killed at the top of the cage with one.
Decapitated, I think is the word.
But damn, I think he looks better than what he has in the last. I mean, I don't know. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like Randy Orton looks about as good as he has in the last like 5 years or so. Like, guy's
He put on a ton of muscle.
Guy's jacked and ripped and still. I mean, god dang, that guy's what, like 40? He's also like about 44, 45, I think.
He's 43.
And
he's 43 right now.
And he still moves like he's 30 with a bad back. Good lord. What a guy, man! It was awesome. It was great to see him
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Baby faces
Yeah, I'm gonna,
win, and Damian Priest takes the pin. I think somebody caught that on Monday. Not gonna say who.
you in our fairness, you said he was gonna take the pin and Judgment Day was gonna break up. That was your total
they,
prediction.
they still can, but it does put it in. It just put an interesting wrinkle into. He was supposed to be the leader, right? He was deemed the leader of the War Games match, and your leader just got his
Mhm.
ass handed to him and pinned. So,
Yeah.
I mean, they all kind of got their asses handed to them in the end, but
They really did.
yeah, go ahead,
So
Cheese.
what
What
you
you got?
yeah, okay. Where to begin on this match? I'm gonna go backwards the way you started. Instead of starting with the ending, I'm gonna start with the match itself. Ah, okay. The match itself was technically okay. I didn't dislike it. I didn't particularly like it. My stance. I don't particularly like the War Games setup. I don't enjoy it that much. The advantage was much to do about nothing because 9 times out of 10, even what is it? Even undermanned, they were just picking apart the Judgment Day. I think they were just destroying them pretty much throughout the entire match. Um, you know, there was a lot of spots where no, let's skip to the end, right? Randy Orton himself coming out wasn't wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I mean, I felt like a lot of this was telegraphed. Did anybody else feel that it was a little telegraphed that like it's like, oh, he's not gonna, he might not show up? Talking about how is Randy Orton not gonna show up? I think it was a good reason for him to not be in the cage. That was probably a good thing,
Yeah, that's what.
because you didn't want him.
Yeah, it's like I
It
had
was a
said.
pretty good reason for it.
Yeah, it's like I had
Yeah,
said on Monday, where it's like, I don't think you wanted Randy Orton after 18 months just sitting there looking like a goon in a cage for like 30 minutes. So I thought your initial thought was my initial thought, sorry, was bring him out first, then let him go out there in the ring, and then you're like, well, the more I thought about it, the more I thought, yeah, you're probably right. Like you want to give him some action, but you don't want to give him like an hour of action. I think that's a little too overexposure for him coming back. So I did like well, he's got to be the last guy, and he was just in a
yeah.
different way.
He's the last guy, right? And I think that there's a reason why, right? From what I'm hearing, he's still not medically cleared to be back in the ring. This was reported about a month ago,
Mm-hmm.
that he's not medically cleared. But I think what his father said is that Randy's going to do what Randy wants to do. I think that
Sure.
there's a reason why he came out and got a minimal amount. While you were wanting a bump, I was like, Randy, be careful because he's not
That's the
completely
only
all
way.
the way there.
That's the only way you know that someone is at least okay enough.
Yeah.
In today's wrestling, whether it's WWE, AW, whatever, they're not gonna put their guys necessarily at huge risk unless they get that paper that says you're cleared. It could be from Dr. Nick, but maybe Dr. Nick down the street that says you're cleared. But I have faith in the medical staff that they're at least not gonna put somebody in danger if they feel like they're in intense danger of themselves. So the fact that he was out there tells me that he's at least good enough to go out there. He may not be able to put on 45-minute matches anymore, but he was good enough to take a couple bumps. And that RKO, like I said, if he's able to hit an RKO, that back, although it's probably never going to be good again, it's good enough. Good enough for me.
Let's just talk a little bit about the lack of surprises in this match because I was really kind of disappointed with that, right? So Randy comes. It's a clear match, right? It's a clear cut match. They come out, they beat the living crap out of the Judgment Day. There's no surprise. It's not from the beginning of the match to the end of the match, right? You're thinking RKO out of nowhere on Jey Uso. No, it's all good, bro. You put me on the shelf for 2 years. I don't really care. Like just a lot of things that just didn't feel very like there was not even no discord between the group of five guys that have like disliked each other for years. No discord. I don't even think the Judgment Day had a near fall. I don't think that they had a one, like there was no ups and downs. There was no backs and forth. It was just like a really, for me, it was corny because it was like like a nostalgic like salute to all the fans, right? Let's just do everybody's special moves and there was no substance to the match. It was
Yeah.
just There was no suspense, like, oh my God, is they're gonna win? No, it was an absolute beatdown. And there was, like I said, there was no near falls, so there was no feeling of like the Judgment Day is gonna win this. I mean, from the moment Randy Orton got in there, they basically just destroyed the Judgment Day, and they gave everybody their signature moves. I don't think that there was any doubt, and then there was no surprise. So for me, like, I thought it was a little lukewarm. I thought it was very telegraphed. I thought I miss not knowing what's gonna happen next, and there was no backstabbing. Hell, even the Judgment Day didn't break up, which is what we all thought might happen, right? Because you're right, Damian Priest took the fall. They were a non-factor at the end of this. You know what the one surprising part of this was? Rhea Ripley coming in, like you said, trying to cash in. That was the only thing that we kind of didn't see coming in, right? Was that part. But outside of that, I mean, it was just salute after salute. It was just pleasing the audience after pleasing the audience, and then everybody brings in their signature weapons. I think Cody brings in
the bull rope was a pretty good little touch.
The bull rope. I mean, it was just like one thing after another, and I felt like the match lacked substance. It lacked that like drama, and I think that's what you get from like really high. This is probably why this wasn't like, it didn't engage me. It was just it was a safe match. It was a good match, but I didn't at one point feel like, holy crap, like, oh my God, like the Judgment Day are gonna pull this off. I mean,
yeah,
I don't even think I saw Finn Balor like most of the end of the match. So
kind of disappeared.
I think JD McDonough had like more screen time than anybody else in the Judgment Day. What was Dom even there for?
In the worst way too, poor guy.
Yeah, in the worst way, right? But I feel like that's a way to get there and make your name, because
yes, I agree.
For him not having a really good platform, getting your ass beat by like 5 of the top guys in WWE is probably a great way to start making your name and putting your body on the line. So he really did impress me last night. I thought that was good. But Dom was a non-factor, right? And Drew, come on, again, nothing. We get nothing out of Drew again. I mean, his beef with Jey Uso is tired at this point. He was a non-factor. He definitely didn't take the leadership position there. I mean, he just got wrecked. So
I think that'll play into something going forward here, because he was visibly was visibly upset after the match. So maybe I don't think that's a shoot either. I think that's a work, hopefully, but I guess we'll see where that goes. But I mean, they were all non-factors on the Judgment Day side. I didn't mean to cut you off, but one thing, because you the point you were making was kind of funny, because I think it was, who said that to? Oh, it was one of the reporters that said that to Cody during the press conference, that it was neat, like seeing the Avengers. It was like, yeah, that's exactly what it was. Like the baby faces were the Avengers, and they were going up against like the nobodies, or they just demolished them. That's the way it came off. Like Judgment Day did not seem like a threat, which is why I said this was a pretty basic match all the way up until the Randy Orton entrance, and then all the stuff that happened after, and then of course the after the match stuff.
Heels are in a bad spot. They just are. They're in a really bad spot right now, because the faces are they're too strong. It's too corny. I think heels need to be put back. If there's one thing that I will say about the Triple H era, is that baby faces are reigning supreme right now, and heels need to be at the top once again, because they drive more narrative, they drive more drama, and you got no heels right now. You got no respectable, and then you bury Drew McIntyre, who's just become a heel. You just bury him. He has no credibility right now. He has none. So I really don't feel like the baby faces needed this match. I think that the heels did to stay relevant. So yeah, you basically got no steam for the heels going into Monday night, and the faces, there's just too many, and they're too strong, and they're basically gonna have to start feuding with each other at this point. Overall, me personally, I gave the match, for all it was worth, I gave the match a B+. It was pretty good. But I mean, I can't give it an A when there's no drama. There's not even a near fall, and it's just a straight beatdown. I mean, Randy Orton coming back, cool. I was super excited, but the way he comes back is just, it's very telegraphed. We all know he's coming back. We know that he's not going to not show up. I mean, come on. We all know that he's coming back. I was expecting a little bit more fun. This Survivor Series is okay, I guess you can say, but fun. I guess fun ending. But I'm not. It was lukewarm for me. It was just not something that I was
Yeah.
like, "Holy crap, this blew my mind." So
Yeah.
that's mine.
And I thought I was the tough critic. No, that's. I mean, just to finish my small thing on that. I agree. The match itself was pretty just basic. It was really just baby faces smash heels. That was their opportunity. That after all the weeks of lead up to it, of the baby faces getting beat around and whatnot, this was their opportunity to like just put the beating on the heels, and they really did. The heels never stood a chance. But yeah.
Hey,
So
quick question:
mhm.
Is the ring smaller in war games? Are the rings smaller because it looked like they didn't have as much room
No,
to work in there?
well, there might be something to that, but I don't know if it was just the.
It looks a smidge smaller,
I don't know.
right?
I don't know if it was just the look because they had a lot of the zoom out looks a lot of the time, but you could be onto something there. What you got, Zero? Looks like you have something to say.
Oh well, they don't call him guys the tribal chiefs for nothing. If you want his acknowledgement, you need to give him better than that, guys. Um, as far as Mr. Zero's opinion, guys, uh, it was pretty good. It was a pretty good match. I expected more drama between Drew and Damien when they were in the ring because before Damien goes out, Drew's about to walk out because he wants to get a piece of Jey Uso, and there's a little bit of that back and forth between them, and it's Damien's like stick to the plan type of stuff. So I expected them to kind of have like some conflict in there while dominating. You know what I mean? I expected the heels to dominate since they had the advantage. I love the Usi chants when Sami Zayn goes in.
Those were
Crowd
nice.
crowd's working it. Sami Zayn and Jey Uso back in the ring together, so the crowd's going cheering Usi Usi. You know what I mean? Back and forth between Jay and Drew was all right until Drew started getting on Jay. What else did I have? I like the 1D by Sammy and Jay. Like that's that, and that's another point. Like the heels had the advantage, but it didn't really ever seem like they were at a disadvantage. Even when Dom comes in, you know what I mean? They have a 5-on-4 advantage, and it's like, is Randy coming? Is Randy not coming? And like, didn't really seem like uh, the guys, the good guys, needed any help. They were in it for a while, and then Judgment Day kind of had a little advantage where they were winning for a little bit. Mommy comes in, tries to cash in for Damian Priest, and then Randy Orton's music hits, and I mean, it's all the end of it from there on.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, man. I loved one of the comments that I think Michael Cole said. He said, "This is the next longest Dom has spent behind bars."
he was getting the prison. I did like that spot. I did like the prison beatdown spot where they all just kind of like ganged up on him and just beat his ass.
And then,
But that was the
and
whole
then
that was the whole thing. Yeah.
Michael Cole saying Dom having flashbacks of the prison yard when he comes in and they all jump him. I love Michael Cole, man. That guy's a treasure, man. I used to
He
really
is.
dislike his commentating, but he has come a long way.
That's another. That's another good thing from the Triple H era is that he lets his commentators. They're still somewhat got to follow a format, but they're
Mhm.
not as tamed as they have been in the past. As evidenced by name dropping Chris Jericho on a WWE programming
Yeah,
in 2023. Can you still do that?
yeah,
Evidently, you can. But
I, I
but
thought
yeah,
that too.
commentary was fire
Um,
tonight.
yeah. I loved Randy Orton, man. As soon as I saw him, I was like, dude, this guy is huge, like jacked. And, I mean, I don't think he had a six pack for a couple of years.
Looking
And he's
jack,
back with a
baby.
six pack, and I'm like, dude, I was like, and then I love the bald head. That's what I was hoping he came back with the bald head. Look, that's usually a sign that he's gonna be a heel. I feel like because I feel like when he's a heel, he's usually bald, so it could be an early
I,
sign.
I don't like Randy Orton with hair, man. It just doesn't grow well for him.
Yeah,
He doesn't look
that's
good with
true.
hair. But it
That
was
just
good.
feels like
But it was great to
21
see. It was
quality.
great to see clean cut Randy Orton. Like, get out there, bro.
Yeah.
Out there with your bald
I,
ass
I
head.
I love the Spike DDT homage for Randy Orton, by everybody. That was cool, but like we said, there was never any danger for the
Never
good
any
guys.
doubt.
They probably didn't even need to have Randy Orton. I could have seen mommy cashing in for Damian Priest. Damian Priest goes to the pin, and it's broken up by Cody or something. You know what I mean? And then they still lose. So overall, it was a good match.
That
It
could
was
have been
fun.
the opportunity for like Drew to break up the pin there, to be like, nah, I'm not letting
Oh
you
yeah.
take I don't want to be a part of this plan anymore. Like, nah, we
Hmm.
ain't doing
Yeah.
that because now you ain't taking my moment either, kind of thing. But no,
Mm,
they didn't do anything with
yeah.
it. They just kind of left it as it is. But
Yeah.
it
And
was
that's
just
why I kind of
it's like Cheese was saying. It was really just a plot device to get Randy out. That was really all it
yeah.
was. It was just a plot device to find a way to get Randy out, and that's all it was used for. And that's all.
Yeah.
That's all this. That's not, sorry, but that's
All
what
right.
I'm
All right.
hoping. Because man, they're running out of time. I think with the
Hmm.
Money in the Bank thing, like
Yeah.
there's too. I feel like there's too many of these false cash-ins
They already
that
Hmm.
buried Damian Priest. They already buried
that
him.
when it happens, what is it? Is it really gonna? Is he really gonna do it, or is it just? Or is he just gonna fail? I feel like if you're gonna do this many failed cash-ins, you can't have him cash in and then have him lose. Otherwise, what was the point of all these failed cash-ins? But anyways,
Yeah.
go ahead. Sorry, just wanted to make that
They
point because
did
I was
it
like, yeah,
again and again. They did the same thing with Austin Theory. They did the same thing. Money in the Bank is a joke right now.
That and so like when Randy came out, I was kind of thinking maybe he is gonna come out as a heel, because the Judgment Day needed more help than the good guys, because uh, it would have been pretty cool to come for Randy to come in and Cody's like try to give him a handshake or whatever, and then just boom RKO, and then just
Yep.
starts RKOing everybody, and it's like, oh no, like Randy Orton, and then he RKO's Damian Priest, and it's like I'm the leader of the Judgment Day type of thing, that would have been pretty cool.
I did
But
like.
that was my thoughts on the match. I
Those are
gave it a
great.
B plus also.
B plus, cool. Um, I did like the slither over to Jey Uso for a minute because it did bring back that. Okay, he didn't forget. It's still
Yeah.
there. So that's if you do turn Randy heel, that's a program right there, in my opinion. That's a Royal
Mhm.
Rumble. That's a Royal Rumble like Royal Rumble, like a one-on-one match if you want it, kind of thing, or whatever you want to do. If you want to do it in Australia for Elimination Chamber, although I don't know, there's a lot of things that can happen, but if you turn Randy Orton heel, I think that's your first program right there. If you do,
I don't
Yeah.
think
if that's what
Randy
you
is
want
in
to do.
shape to do a program with any of those faces right now. I don't think he's in ring shape enough to do pro because Jey
That that
Uso
that
can
that that,
wrestle his
that
ass off,
that's why I'm
and
saying
Randy's not
that.
there yet.
That's why I'm saying you don't got to do that this year. You can wait till
Yeah.
Royal Rumble, or you can wait till February to make that happen, or even WrestleMania if you want to. I don't think he's gonna. I don't think Randy Orton's gonna be in like a championship match at WrestleMania. So you got to give him somebody that's worth the wait, right? Although, not to get too much into a tangent about it, but I think the direction for WrestleMania, as much as I'm starting to feel like I don't know if I really want to see it, but I think that's where they might be going, is brother versus brother. I mean, they're gonna have to do it at some point, right? With Jay, but I wouldn't mind seeing Jay versus Randy if you build it up for a few months and get it there. I think that would be kind of cool, but I think they're gonna do brother versus brother. But I gave them my grade on this one. I gave it an A, just because I thought it was pretty solid, and I mean, it kept me in tune. I wasn't really like out of it throughout most of the match. A lot of good fun spots. That RKO spot, like I said, that was awesome. As soon as I saw JD and the guys getting up there, I was like, oh my god, what are they gonna do with him? And then I saw Randy waiting. That camera angle is what did it too for me, because they kind of panned out, and that camera angle was I was like, oh no, he's about to die. And, and sure enough, he came down. And I got to give JD his flowers, man. He did good in this match, and he sold everything about as well as you should sell those things. And he sold that RKO like he just died, like he was like he just like dead. And
They,
so I gave it an
they,
A, and then of course that's just what even without what happens after. I think that's still an A.
Yeah.
But you got
So
you
my
got
wife
one more
kept
thing.
asking about who is JD McDonough, right? And she couldn't remember his name, right? So she just called
Nobody
him
did.
Chones the whole night. Because
Which
he's out there in little baby briefs. That's what he's out there in.
which like nobody, which like yeah, nobody or my family's been watching it too, but they still forget his name half the time. And I'm like, the dude's name is like just think of the group JD. He's like in the group, so JD Judgment Day. But yeah, he'll get there. I think we got to work with him a little bit, but I think he'll get there, and we'll see how it goes with him. But good showing by all the guys. I mean, it was definitely dominated by baby faces, but good showing for everyone in that match. So let's go ahead, like we always do. Let's go ahead and just start at the beginning of the show. We're from, it's a hot Chicago crowd. I got to give Chicago their props, as always. They're a good crowd. They were pretty much up, I think, for every match here tonight. Whether it was a good match or a bad match, they were still up, and they really elevated, I think, the superstars in all these matches. We started off with the Women's War Games match, which that one right there, that's my match of the night already, I think. I was surprised by... because once again we were kind of on that baby faces are a group of a lot of top heavy stars and Shotzi versus Damage Control that has a pretty good mixed bag, but still don't know what they're doing, who's in, who's out, everything that's happening there. But I thought the match flowed very well. My Shotzi, although as much shit as I've given her, showed out. I think she had a good showing in this match. What happens in these War Games matches, from what I found, is it's gonna be clunky because there's a lot going on. You notice a lot of clunky things, a couple of botches here and there, a couple of people that don't know where they needed to go at different times. But she's definitely got something, and I think she can. If they continue to build her, I don't think she'll be on the level of like the Beckys and stuff of the world, but she could mix in with them. She needs a little bit of work still, I think, but she showed out. That was my kind of like, wow, like I didn't expect very much from her. I thought she was just going to kind of be there to get her ass beat, and that was it. But no, she did very well. Kyrie is so much fun to watch. I think she has evolved a lot since she left WWE. What was it, 2 years ago or so? Whatever time that she's had in between, she's definitely continued to improve her game, and she came back very, very hot in this match. All of Damage Control looked great. They looked all great together. And one of the things that I was wondering, I think we're all kind of wondering, is the War Games matches were about the camera angles. How was the camera, and were they just going to kind of show those weird outside angles with the cage everywhere? But no, they actually had somebody, whether they had, I couldn't tell if they had somebody in or if they had cameras that were kind of inside of the ring, but it really did catch really, really good angles. I wasn't really distracted by the cage very much in these War Games matches. I thought the mixing of the camera angles was good enough to kind of take away from the fact that everything was surrounded by a cage. Oh man. The move of the night for me was that Io Sky plancha on the with the trash can. I didn't know, I thought she was gonna do a moonsault like with the trash can or something, but then she put it over her head, and I'm like, what the hell is she doing? And then she just fucking jumps, and I was like, oh my god, that's great! Like I've never seen that before. What the hell, man? It's a suicide dive.
We got to come up with a name. Yeah, the trash can suicide plancha. Is that what we're gonna go with?
I just named it the trash can plancha, but we can go suicide too. We can go trash can
suicide because she didn't know where she was jumping.
No, because you can't see. How can you see out of that? You just jumped and just prayed that you weren't gonna hit the ground or something. I wouldn't do that. You couldn't pay me enough to do a move that I couldn't even see where the hell I'm going. I'm just trusting that my fellow wrestlers are gonna grab me and not let me die.
I need a gif of that move. Like I really do. Like an outside angle of like somebody putting a trash can on their head and just jumping off of a cage.
The live moment was already big enough, right? I popped very, 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 very big for that one. But when they showed the replay, it was even better because she like went perfectly horizontal, and her legs are just kind of like flailing a little bit. It was just so great. It was the
It's
best. It
great.
was the best move of the night, and
I'd be scared as hell.
rightfully so. The crowd gave this match some this is awesome chance. I thought it was rightfully so. The Charlotte moonsault too. That was pretty neat. Although on the replay too, I think she really nailed Kyrie's head with her knee. Poor girl, she always
Yep,
gets
I
hurt
saw the
somehow.
same thing.
She always gets
I
hurt
didn't.
somehow. Like I hope she's
Concussions,
like
syndrome.
I hope she's okay. But God, she got all of Charlotte Flair's knee right on the back of her head. I was like, good lord, this girl just always seems to be in the wrong place at the wrong time when it comes to different things like that. Like her head, man, poor her. It's always her head. Something with her. And that's just a freak thing. Like I don't like it's she's just in that place with the Charlotte Flair knee to the back of her head. But that moonsault was pretty cool. The manhandle slam on Bailey through the table for the win. That was kind of a wonky looking one because I think she kind of lost the grip there off the top rope, but it was still good look. Bailey, which we kind of think, if I remember correctly, we were kind of talking about who takes the pin here, what happens with this match. I think we all were we all in agreement that the baby faces were gonna win this one,
Yeah. That's what we were.
and
Yeah.
but it was just a matter of what was damage control gonna look like, right? Well, Bailey takes the finishers for everybody. She's like the one that's trying to take the bullet for everybody. It's almost like how you have that one friend that's just trying like to prove that they can be a part of the group by like they go and buy the pizzas, they go and like they're really trying really hard to kind of be your friend, because they know they don't really fit in anymore, but they're just going to try really hard. They're going to buy the round of beers, they're going to do all that. They're going to, they're gonna host everything and be like, "No, I got you, I got this." That's what Bailey came off to me tonight as. She's so like out of place with this group now, but I'm gonna prove to you I love y'all by taking all of the hits and then losing the and end up losing the match for the group, which I think is gonna play into her eventually getting X'd out. So I thought that was pretty much how I maybe saw that happening. And once again, I gave that one an A as well. I thought that was a really good hot opener. I didn't know, like we talked about, what to really expect of this women's one this time because it kind of seemed like the faces were kind of put together really quickly, and I didn't really know if that team was going to work or not. And it did. They all worked together. They all worked very well together. It was good to see. I had fun. I had fun with that one. That got me like really hyped for the show. I think the match lasted about 30. It was about 30 minutes, so it didn't even last really that long once everybody got in. So I thought it was a good solid opener. Got me hyped, and for the rest of the night.
Go ahead, Zero.
Yeah, I like this match, man. This is definitely my favorite match of the night. There's a lot of back and forth, a lot of big moments for sure. I thought had way more big moments than the other War Games match. Yeah, you start the match with Bailey and Becky, and then Shotzi comes in. They get the advantage. They're doing, and I like that the team that had the advantage, or like when the next person would come in, they would keep that advantage. Unlike with the guys, there was kind of a lot of back and forth, and even though some, with the guys match when they had a disadvantage, they would still kind of figure out how to make it work. And this one with the girls, it was like, no, we have the advantage. We're gonna rock it. I loved the Bailey and Io double superplex. That was nice. God,
The triple choke
so
slam.
many things. yeah.
Wait, no, that was in the men's. Excuse me, sorry.
The choke slam.
The triple choke slam was in the men's, right? Excuse me.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. I'm like, man, every time I see Bianca come in with those braids, man, I'm like, someone needs to just cut her hair. Like, they just have a match where it's like, you know what, I'm tired of these things, get disqualified, but we're going to bring some scissors in and just cut these
Somebody
things
needs
off.
to just cut her whole gimmick off, right?
Because, man, those things gotta hurt, man. They're like an unregistered, foreign object, so she comes in and, she's whipping Io, she's whipping Bailey, she's whipping everybody. It's like, man, like, they're gonna have lash marks, the next day, and we're gonna probably see that Monday night.
Becky had some
Kairi
really
Sane, man.
yeah, Becky had some really good marks on her face in the press conference. Like,
Hmm.
good lord.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Kairi Sane comes in and man, I love her elbow drop, dude. That's like one of the nicest elbow
It's the
drops.
best in the
You
game.
know, yeah. It's I love the way she always like hits it like perfectly, and it's and she had some modified stuff going on there. I really like that. And then Charlotte Flair comes out last, and then they're doing their thing. Um, what I put?
You did point
Oh
something out. You
man,
did point something out, Zero, that I'm not sure if you're going to get to it, but you did point something out when we were chatting that I think I caught too, and I'm not sure if you caught it, Cheese. But
oh yeah,
the the
I know what you're
the
talking about.
women's matches, I don't know what's going on lately. They need to kind of work with them on the back of it, but they're pointing out their spots, and it's
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
very, very visible, and it's not
Oh yeah.
supposed to be that visible to the naked eye, to somebody that's not, like knows about it. You don't really know what's happening, but to us, the people that do, it's like, yeah, she's clearly like pointing like what to do and where to go. Like you may not
Yeah.
want to do that where it's like that, but you brought that up, Zero. I thought that was kind of like,
Yeah,
yeah,
I was. I almost forgot about that too, and it's funny because yeah, like you see Shotzi telling Io like move over, and then like
Yep.
you
That
see, and
was
then
the
like
one.
and then the camera pans out, and you see Bailey like dive, and she's like on the floor. It's like, oh my god,
it
like
was
what the
so
hell's going on?
it was not it was that was a bad botch, or I don't know if to call that a botch. I'm just gonna call that's calling your shot a little too
A bad
loud,
flail.
a little too
Yeah,
loud.
it's just yeah. So I was like, oh man, but that was one of the only I guess
Oh
big
yeah.
moments that I caught, and I was like, what the heck's going on with that? Um, I loved Io getting power bombed into the cage. God, that looked brutal. I was like, wow. I
Oh
was like,
yeah,
man,
that
that,
was, yeah.
in between the ropes, I was like,
Yeah,
how are you
like
gonna even get? I was like, how are you gonna get out of that, dude? Like,
she's really good at flailing. Like she's really, really good
oh man,
at selling. So she like kind of like her body just kind of like broke into the in between the ropes. It was a good look.
dude. And then right after that, she goes and does a cannonball off the top of the cage with a trash can on her head, like somebody please catch me. You know what I mean? It's like, oh my, I was like, man, somebody catch her, please. Like,
That's
don't miss the jump or something.
that's an iconic
Um,
moment. I feel like that should be the thumbnail for this video.
It really should.
Get
That should be the thumbnail.
get that still shot of her and put it on the thumbnail.
and then and then Oscar comes in and Damage Control has command. I loved when they chained up Becky and Bianca and did like a four corner missile drop kick. Like I was like, goodness gracious, it looks nasty. Like I think that was probably why Becky's face was all messed up.
Jeez,
And then manhandle slam by Becky to Bailey on the table. That ends the
that
match.
was a good
So
look.
we're gonna see what happens with Bailey in the next this Monday.
Well,
See if she,
that's gonna be a Friday, a SmackDown thing. So we'll see what happens on
oh, okay,
SmackDown.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, well, we're gonna see what happens with that. It's gonna be interesting to see how that happens. So that was what I had. Cheese, what you got?
Did you have a grade on that? Did you give us your
Oh,
grade on that? I'm not sure.
no, I gave that an A. I thought it was an A.
Yeah.
Minus the botches, it was an A.
Yeah.
All right.
They didn't really take
All
away.
right,
They didn't
all
really
right,
take
all
away
right.
from it. Always the thing. That's always the thing with botches. As long as they don't
Yeah.
take away from the overall like match, they're not. I mean, they're not bad. I mean, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Every match you look at is gonna have at least one or two little botches here and there. As long as they don't take away from the overall uh, feeling of the match and they don't take it over, then it's not a big deal. It's a big
Yeah.
deal when it's like visibly like the worst, like wow, that just killed the match for me, kind of thing.
Yeah.
All right. So let me see. Let's talk about a few of the things that I guess. Uh, I mean, they're nitpicky for sure, but that's what I do here because it takes a lot for me to get to acknowledge you. But the 4v4, I kind of was a little disappointed, right? Why not just make it a full-on 5v5? Can we not find two more to give us a full War Games 5v5? It's traditionally Survivor Series is 5v5s. It's not necessarily always 4v. I think this is the first 4v4 I can think of in recent memory. Um, as far as that goes, I didn't really have a problem with the way the match was worked out. Again, very cookie cutter, very predictable. I will say this about one person we haven't talked about yet, Asuka. My goodness, Asuka is a genius, and she is so polished, and she is a likable heel right now. She's got it all, right? I think if we look towards the future, which this is another nitpicky thing, but you know, is Asuka going to be the leader of Damage Control? Because we're already alluding to Bailey getting kicked out, right? So here's something that I think this match is missing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Storytelling. Where's the story, right? So we get the pin, we get, all the cool spots, which I think this is why I think the match was good, because we got some amazing moments. You get those moments. But where's the story go? Where's the story go from here? We don't know, just like the men's match, what happens to the losers, right?
Yes.
We're anticipating a continuation of the story. We don't know if Bailey's getting kicked out. We know what they're alluding to, but if this is just about straight beating down people and then, raising your hands at the end, where's the story? What's next, right? I asked myself a couple of questions like, what's next for Damage Control?
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to know who's going to lead this bad boy going into the future, right? It would have been fulfilling to know if Bailey's getting to stay in or getting kicked out, right? I think that's something that we want to know. One of the other things is I want to know what's next for Shotzi. Where does Shotzi go from here? Because does she go back into obscurity?
I hope not.
Where she's not getting a match? And, nothing, like I said, nothing in the match that I particularly thought of told me that she's ready for this moment. But I did think that it was good that she was thrown in here. I just don't know where she goes next, right? You know what's going to happen with the other faces, right? You got Becky, you got Charlotte, and you got Bianca, right? They're obviously going to be in the mix. But otherwise you get a pretty cookie cutter match. I think on this one there might have been a near fall, but I don't think that there was much going on here again. I think it was another one of those clear, decisive beatdowns. A lot of homage played to the crowd. A lot of crowd pleasing once again, and not a lot of storytelling. I think it gets lost in this era a little bit. I think that there's specifically with these type of matches. I don't think it's with all matches in the Triple H era, but in these type of matches, in these type of events, it's very unclear as to where we're going from here.
I think two stories were created off of this. One, obviously the main one, what's going to happen with Bailey, right? That's the main story. That was the main story going in, and they continued that all the way to the end. Second one, I think, here is, are they going to do something with Becky and Charlotte? Could you possibly put them into a tag team and maybe have them be those serious contenders that you've been looking for in that women's division to help build that? Possibility. I think there was two stories being told there. But you're right. The rest of them, I'm not really sure where they go, but we'll see. But go ahead.
What I want is what you're talking about, but I want that story to unfold live. You know what I'm saying? Like I want Damage Control to get up and finally betray Bailey and make it very clear going into Friday Night SmackDown. She is no longer part of this group. I want answers, just as I wanted answers. What's going to happen with the Judgment Day, right? Sure. We want those answers here because we want to know what's going to happen to the story. I know that there was a win, and we probably know it's going to be alluded to, but we want something a little bit more decisive, a little bit more clear as to what's going to happen going forward. Usually we get those big, giant moments of like, oh, that's what's happening, right? That's what we can look forward to. This is our cliffhanger. But we didn't get none of that. It was a good win.
Straightforward.
It was a pretty straightforward match. It was a good win, but the drama. Where's the drama? Where's the betrayals? Where's the surprises? We're missing those things. I mean, I feel like we missed those things in the men's and the women's outside of the returns. The returns were shit. Randy Orton wasn't even a surprise at this point. So CM Punk was the only surprise. I mean, everything. Where's the betrayals? Where's the drama? Where are those things? Or is this just a victory lap for all the faces? Because that's what it kind of felt like. This felt like a victory lap. And there's some great showcases of some great talent, but where's the answers? where do we go from here? What's the road look like? And I think that we're still missing those things. I mean, we don't really know where everybody stands right now.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's a
Bailey
great,
gets pinned. We can
yeah.
pretty much interfere. We can, but what if it doesn't happen, right? Then none of this matters. What if Bailey doesn't get kicked out? And it's just all this is much to do about nothing. That's going to be a weird development
I
as well,
think
right? I would love to see
I
those things.
yeah, I think I find it hard to believe that's not where they're going. Now they may have used the way that they did it and not a direct kick out this tonight as a way to maybe prolong this a little bit longer, because we do have 9 weeks before the next premium live event. There is not a premium live event scheduled until the Royal Rumble as of today. There's nothing. So you got 9 weeks of TV programming before you even get to the Rumble to develop a lot of these stories. So maybe it's a way of getting us to watch TV, to watch the TV to see what's going to happen, as we got 9 weeks leading up to that. So maybe they could prolong it a little bit longer, kind of keep putting in those seeds that it's going to happen. I can say that with SmackDown, looking at the women's roster, which was evident because of what they ended up having to do with the War Games match, is that they don't have a lot of credible baby faces on the women's side, other than Charlotte and Bianca. You know, I mean, right?
That's a pretty good. That's a
Right?
pretty
I
good
mean,
stable right there of baby faces,
I mean,
though.
but that's the only two they got, right? I mean, Shotzi, obviously she's still up and coming, but I wouldn't put her up there at the top yet because she's just not there yet. But they had to go and get a baby face from the other show because that they don't have anybody else, right? That's credible. So how do you do
Mm.
that? Well, you got to take from the stable that all of a sudden has how many heels are in Damage Control now? Five, 4 or 5. We got to take one of them and turn them into a baby face at some point, and the easiest one to do that with is Bailey. Whenever she's a baby face, the crowd eats it up. Even the crowd eats it up sometimes, even when she's not, and they still
It's been a
and
long
they and they,
time
and
since
they,
she's
and they
been a
still do
baby
it.
face.
It's been since 2019, and so that's been a few years, and this is maybe the way to get there. But they didn't get there tonight or last night, obviously, and maybe this is the way to kind of get it there, and maybe build her up for something in the future as a baby face. Bring back the hugger. I don't know.
You talk about credibility. You talk about bringing people, getting them credible. The faces didn't need this win tonight. What they needed to do was build up some of these heels, make them look like forces to be reckoned with. And I think that they dropped the ball on both sides again. I think they dropped the ball with the
Mm,
men and they dropped the ball with the women because they
on the
need
men,
to build up these other wrestlers that are going to enter that echelon of Bianca, of Becky Lynch. Otherwise, you're going to have the same matchups again and
I,
again and again, and you're discrediting when you get them. You build them up for weeks, and then you make them lose at the live events. And then the way you make them lose is pretty handily. You make them get destroyed. So I think that you got to have some of the women, especially damage. I think Damage Control and Judgment Day both needed to win here to stay credible. We're talking about both groups breaking up because they keep losing, and that's where
Hmm.
you lose your credibility. And they're losing credibility. They're just not winning. They got some
well,
gold here and
and
there, but
that
they're losing.
and that's where I think that what happens next is it matters a lot. Because you don't have to break up these groups. You can just change them. You can change up the stories. You can move on from the people that didn't work out. Right. I think that works more for the Damage Control thing than it does for the Judgment Day. I'll be interested to see what happens. I think the Judgment Day they probably just go on, probably just go on. But for Damage Control, this was clearly the story here is Bailey will do anything to keep her in this group. But after everything that she did, she took the loss. And I think they're going to look at that as a way to say, you don't belong with us anymore. Who's going to be the new leader? That it could be either one of them, right? Hell, it could even be Dakota Kai, who hasn't even fought a match yet. Who knows, right? They have the opportunity to make a story out of that and turn Bailey into a big baby face again easily. I think they have an opportunity to do that, but we'll see
You
how it goes.
think about that, right?
I don't think I think that the men's main event probably did worse for Judgment Day than the women's did for damage. I don't think it damaged Damage Control at all. Um, what it did is it just showed that Bailey is the quote unquote weak link right now. I think that's what they were going
Hmm.
for. And
Yeah, I could see that.
for the baby faces, they get a win. They send the crowd in an uproar early, and uh, who what they do with the women's title, I'll be interested to see what they go with that. But they need another baby face on that. This was a way to kind of maybe fix that and to create another baby face while not necessarily keeping the heels down for too long.
So what you talked about earlier was Charlotte and Becky potentially teaming up, right? They kicked Bailey out,
If
and
they
now
do,
they
I'm just
got a
saying
three.
it's a scenario.
Hold on. They kick her out, and now they got Bailey, Charlotte, and Becky versus Damage Control potentially at Mania, right? What does this matter if Damage Control loses again at Mania? Why do we need to continue building up people that have big names?
Ah,
They have build names, and we bury the talent that needs the wins because they got to become relevant. They got otherwise, you break apart Damage
I
Control,
don't.
and I'm telling you,
Yeah, I don't think you do another group match at WrestleMania. I think I don't think you do. I think
it's a reunification match.
at that point you need to. I think WrestleMania is always best suited for titles, right? If you're not gonna do title matches at these events, right? Like at Survivor Series and the Rumble, you're not gonna do a lot of them. That's where you save them all for wrestling. You got 2 nights. You got 2 nights of it. Why can't you have all the titles on the line in 2 nights, right? Spread them out or
Okay,
whatever. So what do you
definitely
do?
need to.
So what do you do with that? Well, you have opportunity. I think Io Sky obviously keeps the title all the way through WrestleMania, and that's your opportunity to do something like babyface Bailey at WrestleMania with everybody on her side against Io Sky. Something we haven't seen yet. You can build it. You can build it up. I think you could.
Hmm.
She's easy. She's very, very
Yeah,
easily lovable.
I
I think it
I
works.
definitely agree with you on the fact that this definitely did more damage to Judgment
Uh,
Day than it did to Damage Control.
yeah.
Because I feel like Damage Control still kind of, they just added Kyrie Zane.
Yeah. They're still hot.
Oscar seems to be added to the group. Yeah, and then it seems like they're gonna get ready to lose the dead weight. I think they're gonna get rid of Dakota Kai and Bailey. And
Nah.
then I see them getting
Uh
rid of
oh.
Dakota Kai
Uh
and
oh.
Bailey, and then
Uh oh.
adding Shotzi.
Uh
Oh
oh.
shoot.
It was
Yeah.
bound to happen. It was bound to
Yeah, I
happen.
see him.
It's not a show until the tribal cheese gets kicked out for being canceled again. It always happens when we start talking about the Asian wrestlers. I don't know, like.
Why? Yeah, I could see them
Yeah.
kicking out Dakota Kai and Bailey, and then adding Shotzi. Make this like a full on like a Asian team.
Well,
I think, and then like have them like
the thing
have
is,
them
is that I don't think this needs to start becoming with either one of these two groups, right? Whether it be Judgment Day or Damage Control. I don't think it needs to start becoming like an NWO situation where you just have like
mm,
20 members that just decide to all come in. I think you do have to
yeah,
keep it within that 4 to 5. I think that's a good number for a stable. Um, but I don't think you need to add anymore. I think subtraction is the big thing here. It's the big
yeah,
thing that
yeah.
matters. You brought Kyrie in to pair her back up with Asuka and Io, and
And I really like that team. Yeah.
As soon as Dakota Kai's ready to roll again, she's another one that can get in there and be a part of that group. Right? She hasn't done anything wrong to get her out of that
Mm,
group. The one that
yeah,
has is Bailey, right? So
yeah. She's the only one been
she's the odd woman out. But
yeah.
welcome back, Cheese. Good to see you again. you got
Customary,
Yeah.
customary.
you got canceled again. So I guess that's a good. I guess that's a
Right
good.
when we talk about the Asian wrestlers.
I guess
Yeah, I'm not gonna talk about Damage Control anymore.
I guess that's a good segue into the next into moving on to the next thing. Last note on that though that I did want to bring up was that Ruffles was the sponsor of this match. Evidently, they're their promotion was all over the ring. And they also, this is why I don't understand the advantage thing, because for this match, we chose who had the advantage in this match by going to the Ruffles thing and choosing who had the advantage in the women's match. And obviously, everyone, the WWE universe chose the baby faces to have the advantage. That's why I don't think it really matters, but it obviously didn't matter enough that Ruffles had to say in this one.
Oh God, we're getting a little too far into the future now when we let the fans choose the advantage. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, and it's all because of Ruffles. All the Ruffles chips are, man, those cheddar chips, those are goated.
Oh well.
The Ruffles cheddar chips are goated. Which brings us into the next segment, which was the Ruffles, commercial promo in the backstage with Alpha Academy and all those guys. And the biggest return of the night, like we talked about, R-Truth is back, baby. Woo!
God.
Man, the best champion in WWE history, has the most title runs of anybody in WWE. I think at about 80. I think he's an 80-time champion with his 80-time 24/7 championship run.
24/7.
The 7-Eleven 365 title, as R-Truth called it.
Yeah.
But all jokes aside, it's always great to see R-Truth back, and I'm glad he's back. And the guy's just comedic gold, and he knows his role there, and he plays it very well. This is just a fun little in between. So I was not expecting R-Truth to pop up from behind the couch, and there he was.
I had
Oh, he's
one.
great,
I had
man.
one note. I had one note for that segment, and I just put R-Truth is golden.
He is. He's amazing, dude. I love it, and I'm glad that he's back. We had the small little segment of Jay finally, like after Monday, acknowledging that Randy's not coming, bro, because we took him out, so I don't think he's coming, man.
Yeah.
So it was good to see that, which then led to
Which
the
didn't matter.
which really didn't matter in the end. But the second match of the night is Gunther versus The Miz for the Intercontinental Championship. I think a lot of us had this as the potential match of the night candidate. It didn't end up being that for me. Both had pretty good entrances as always. Good looks, good crowd again for both of these entrances. Then God, when Gunther chops you, it just looks like it really hurts.
Doesn't just look like it hurts. It sounds
I can feel it through the TV screen when Gunther Miz is over there trying to throw chop. Although Miz got a couple of chops in early, and they marked on Gunther. He had like a red chest pretty early, so he was giving it he was giving it right back to him a little bit. But man, every time Gunther hit something, it was like, good Lord, I can feel that. I get hurt, but I'm glad that it's kind of what we expected. It was not a squash. They gave them a good, I think they had a good about 10, 11 minutes of a little bit of back and forth. Miz got his in. Gunther definitely got his in. In the end, Gunther's just that much better right now, and it made sense for him to win pretty decisively. And I enjoyed the way that he won because he didn't win with the powerbomb. Miz actually kicked out of that, which I was surprised. Gunther kicks out of the knees of the foot to the nuts, and the little crushing finale kicks out of that. Pretty good near falls. This was the first match. I think it's not maybe one of the only matches that had good false finishes. Like you thought, oh shit,
Yep.
the Miz is really gonna do this,
Yep.
And then he didn't.
Yep.
And then you thought, oh well, that's it for the Miz, and it's like, oh shit, he kicked out. This was one of the only matches that I think really had those kinds of pins. And but in the end, not only the Boston Crab or the Walls of Jericho, but he put the knee. That's like wrestling masterclass. You put the knee to the back. Oh,
dirty.
That's automatic.
So dirty.
That's automatic. You're not gonna get out of that. That's automatic tap, and it didn't take long for the Miz to tap out of that. I thought that was a good touch. That just shows that Gunther is a student of the game, and that was nice to see the classic Lion Tamer be the reason why he loses the match. pretty decisive. I gave that one a B minus. Good good second match of the night. Gunther continues his reign. I think once again with Gunther, you can go just about anywhere you want to go with him at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I do think you do need to continue to give him credible challengers to make this Intercontinental Championship reign worth it. I think at this point he's earned that. And so we'll see where it goes with that. For The Miz, good showing, better than a lot of his past showings. He surprised me. I didn't think he was going to work very well as a babyface, and I thought he worked very well in this match as a babyface. Didn't really work heel too much. Worked babyface. The crowd was behind him, which was also surprising, seeing that it was in Chicago, a city that typically does not like The Miz, but they were behind him, and it was good. B minus, solid B minus match in my opinion.
I noted that Miz had the first chop of the match.
He
Was
did.
it Gunther
He did.
that and so and he had a slap. That slap was nasty because that Gunther had that mark on his face.
He did. Yeah, you're right. He did.
I was like, man, like that. That sounded bad. I like the match. Miz was very offensive, which you don't normally see. So that was real nice. A lot of good back and forth, like you said, and when Miz pulls that pad off the turnbuckle and goes for the low blow, I was like, oh man, it's gonna happen. He gets 2 low blows in, and then he goes crushing fanatic.
Yeah. Well, actually, I thought they fucked it up. I thought that he fucked up the first, like the one behind, the one where he throws the leg behind. But no, that was intentional. He intentionally hit him in the knee first. Like if you look at the replay, he actually intended to hit him in the knee first because he had been targeting that. Because how do you take down a giant, right? You take their legs out. He hit him and then straightforward kick to the. I thought that was a botch. Right? I thought maybe he messed up and didn't hit it. But then I looked at it, and he actually did mean to hit him in the knee. Like that was a direct shot to the knee first, then the kick to the groin. Like
kick to the nuts.
Okay, yeah, kick to the nuts. We'll call it.
and then skull crushing finale. I was like, oh, like here it is, 1, 2, and then I was like, come on, ref, count faster. You know what I mean? Like, what's going on? And then Gunther, like you said, Gunther powerbombs Miz and Miz kicks out of it. And I thought it was very poetic though that they had the Miz lose to the only move, to Chris Jericho's move. As they mentioned, Chris Jericho is the 9-time Intercontinental Champion.
That's right.
So that was the record Miz was trying to tie. So I was like, that's very poetic.
That's wow. That's amazing. I didn't even really think about that. that the one that keeps the Miz from tying the record is the Lion Tamer, Chris Jericho's move. That's actually a great point. I was just kind of wondering like why they kind of like that's kind of an out of nowhere move for him. Not anymore. When you brought that up, I was like, that's actually very very poetic. Good catch.
Yeah.
Great catch. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for real, good catch.
Man, that was nice. That was nice. Oh, it was a good match. I gave it a B+. I really liked this match.
All right, so I'm gonna go a step above you guys. I'm gonna give this match an A. I really like this match. I really, really like this match. For me, this was my match of the night because of what JT said earlier. It had some drama in there. It was the only match that I thought was believable. I really thought that Miz had a chance. Miz came out with firepower. I mean, he wanted that slobber knocker match, and I love that. For me personally, I feel like Miz proved that today with Gunther in the ring, he's not just an entertainer. The man is a great wrestler too.
Oh yeah.
The man is a great wrestler. Look at some of the signature moves that he pulled out, some of the versatility. My favorite spot was when he did the figure 4 off the ring post. I was like, I haven't seen that since Bret Hart. I was amazed. I was like, the man is a student of the game. He can pull off dozens of wrestling moves. So I was really, really impressed by the way he took it. He took the fight to Gunther, and the drama in the endings, right? I mean, you Gunther gets the win. he's got a bright future ahead of him. There's no doubt in my mind that Gunther can work with every single style. If you're an entertainer, he can work with you. If you are a slobber knocker and you want to make it real physical, he can work with you as well. But one thing he does need to work on rather is his off the top rope game, because that plancha was pretty awful, and it looked like he planted his knee. He looked like he planted his knee. I thought he was actually hurt. Yeah, he looked like he that was a really bad botch.
I don't need to see Gunther jumping off the top rope anymore.
I did love that Michael Cole called it out. Like, he was like, it didn't look like he got.
It didn't look like he got all of it because he got none of it. It was a whole bunch of air. But yeah, I don't need to see him come off the top anymore.
Gunther needs to not do that anymore. Yeah,
he's so good at everything else. I don't think he needs that. I understand why they did it, because they were trying to set up the impact of the Boston Crab, but it didn't hit. Let's just go ahead and take that one and throw it out.
Yeah, no, I don't want to see that ever again. I actually thought he looked like he was hurt for a couple of seconds after the match. It took him a while to get up. I thought Gunther did a great job selling too. He's if for what he is, the ring general, and he thinks that he's a pure wrestler. The man is an entertainer as well. I would go backwards on him and say, you are not just a wrestler, sir. You are also an entertainer, because I was very entertained during this match, and he really helped sell Miz possibly winning. I thought that was amazing, and again, one of the few matches that had some drama in it. One of the few matches that had some back and forth pins. Those kind of things really helped me get. I guess you can say they helped me get into the match on a different level. It feels like there's some personal, I got a personal stake in it, right? I want to see Miz win his 9th championship, and it's almost there. There's a few times I thought when he got the low blows and stuff, I was like, this is it. This is the moment, right? Like this is how Miz wins. This is how he gets over the hump. It's by doing these type of tactics. I love that Miz didn't just try to match with him too.
Correct.
He still played the chicken shit that he is, right? He's a chicken shit face at this point, right?
Yeah.
Not a chicken shit heel. He's a chicken shit face, and that's what works for him. So overall, great match. My match of the night, even though there wasn't all the bells and whistles, but the substance was great. I thought the storytelling was great. Gunther gets the win, as he should remain champion. But Miz proves once again he's one of the top in the business.
He gave him a fight.
I give it an 8. He gave him a fight.
Yeah. He gave him a fight, more than what I maybe thought, and he showed out. He showed out to a crowd that could easily shit on him, and instead he got them behind him, and it worked out for both guys. The person that beats Gunther, it's gonna be a big deal, because the guy hasn't got pinned since he got to the main roster. So that's what makes those moments like that, where it's like, oh shit, is he gonna be the one? Like that much bigger. So I liked how they built that up. I wouldn't mind if they wanted to do another one. If they wanted to do a rematch, I wouldn't mind it. I don't say do it. I'm not saying do it tomorrow, but if they want to do it sometime down the road, I think they still have a story there if they want to. I don't think they are. I think this may have just been a one-off, but if they want to, I think that's fine.
Yeah. Real quick, because I have to get off. I'm gonna just give my feedback on the last 2 matches.
What? You're gonna ruin the format.
I know. I'm sorry, guys. Maybe we could edit it out.
You're gonna ruin the format.
Move it. I'm gonna just give my opinions real quick, because I do have to get off. Escobar versus Dragon Lee. I had that as the worst match of the night, and even though it was still a pretty back and forth. I just didn't really have much going for me on that one. There's some exciting lucha libre stuff, but I just wasn't feeling it. And then they added Dragon Lee at the very last minute, so it's like what the heck? I was expecting to see Carlito.
All right. So let's. All right. So this is what we'll do here. So this match, right? This was definitely my sleeper of the night. It was exactly what I thought it was going to be. Honestly, it's a TV match. Yeah. It's a normal TV match on a premium live event. I do like the placement, because I feel it's a good palate cleanser. into what's coming.
Yeah.
You needed something in the middle to
Mhm.
kind of calm people down a little bit, to kind of build that back up, give people a chance to kind of breathe and build up again. But it was basically that's what it was. The entrances were cool. I think both of these guys have good looks. They have good entrances.
Yeah.
They have potential to do something with them in the future. But what you got out of it was just a normal TV match,
Yeah.
and you'll see where I gave it a C plus. You'll see where you go from there. Escobar's finisher though, it's good. I like it. I like his
Yeah.
finisher. I think it's a really sweet looking finisher. But they can build up. None of these guys, Dragon Lee losing doesn't do anything wrong for him. Escobar winning does good for him. But they both have a future here, but that's really what it was. Just a basic TV match on
Yeah.
a live event. What do you got? You got anything on that? Because I mean, I can move on from there. Got anything on that, cheese or?
No, I'm gonna sleeper, but I guess we can talk about this afterwards. I know. Can we cut him back in to afterwards if we can cut him back in? But I know that this is gonna be a little awkward because I know he's got to go.
I'll say this.
He has to get out of here.
If you gotta go, you gotta go, and we'll get you out of here, and we'll just continue the show without you for today, my friend. That's okay.
Alrighty.
That's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But hey, Zero's got to go. He's got to go build up. He's got to go pump some muscle. So he's got to get his in. But until next time, my friend, we'll see you soon. Okay. Peace out. We'll continue the show here, though. What do you have on that? You want to get more into that Escobar match a little bit? Go ahead.
Yeah, Santos Dragon. Big takeaway for me is that Santos is not just a luchador. Like, Santos is a real deal. This man deserves to be in that big title picture. He's not gonna get there if you serve him up to people like Cody Rhodes and let him beat him. Santos needs to get some wins, and he needs to get some wins against some really big competitors, because the man is not just a Rey Mysterio LWO storyline. Mm-hmm. I see potential in Santos that puts him at the very top. I think he can be a main eventer in this business. He's got everything. He's got everything. He's got the mic skills. He's got the ring presence, and he's got also the finisher, like you said, too. I think he's got everything to be a top contender. I didn't see it before, but after this feud with LWO, I really do see it now. I'm gonna say that
he always works better, in my opinion. Even when he was in NXT, he always works better as a heel.
Yep.
I think his presentation, the way he talks, it works better as evidently the best promos he's done since he came onto the main roster were the last two that he's done as a heel. I enjoyed that. I loved his SmackDown promo where he just basically told Rey Mysterio, like, I hope your leg gets amputated. Yeah. I'm like, who says that?
I hope you catch an infection.
Catch an infection. I hope it gets amputated. And I was like, that made me kind of laugh. I mean, I know it's not supposed to be funny, but it was like, oh shit, like that's good. It's like, I like it.
But it was very personal though. At the same time, it wasn't just like, I'm a heel, right? Some very personal stuff in there. It pained him to say those things. He was like, that guy was my hero, right? It wasn't just, it's like something very human that you can believe in, right? Like, this was my family, but now I'm done with them, but it still hurts me to hurt them, right? Like, I loved you guys, and now I have to go it alone, and I'm gonna hurt every single one of you guys, right? So I really, really like his work as a heel. I think he's really good. Opposite end of that, I think Dragon Lee is, if they're looking to recreate what they've done with Rey Mysterio, which you never will, you'll never get to do the exact same thing that you did with Rey. Dragon Lee's got the talent, but I don't know that he's got the intangibles. Everything in the ring is fine. He's talented, but I would argue that Santos is just as talented in his ring work. I think that Santos can do everything that Dragon Lee can do, and he's got a personality, and he's got all these other things, mic skills. I didn't see that with Dragon Lee at all.
It's a work in progress.
Dragon Lee's good. Santos is better. That was my biggest takeaway, was Dragon Lee. He's
they both kind of like they both have a future here. I think they both have things they can. I mean, obviously Santos is a little bit more established, which makes sense why he would be the one to get the win, because it'll do more for him now than it will for Dragon Lee. But both have a future here. I think they can both do something here. I think Dragon Lee needs a little more work, but I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. And for
It's
Santos,
always more difficult though for the luchadors to just let their personality shine
for
through.
sure,
It's always more difficult.
but I trust it more now than I did maybe 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, that they can possibly um, get one over. It's just so hard. It's so hard to make another Rey Mysterio as easy as
It
you
is.
think it as easy as you think that it should be. It's not. It's just that's a one of it's a one in a generation kind of guy, and they can try as hard as I mean they have for the past 10 years. They've tried making that next Rey Mysterio kind of guy, and they still don't have it. I'm not saying that Dragon Lee is going to be, but they have something there. But it's gonna take a little bit of work. But it was a good showing. But TV style kind of match in my opinion. But Escobar looked good. Dragon Lee looked good. I think both have a future, and they could do something in the. I mean, they got time. They're both pretty young. Well, I think Escobar is actually pretty old. I don't think he's actually very young. Now that I think about it, I think Escobar is like 30, 38. I'm gonna check right now. Might as well.
That's young. That's young for a wrestler at
You're
this
kind of
point.
right about that at this point because most of these guys are going into their 50s now. So, like, I don't think you got to do anything with Escobar. Like, you don't got to put a title on him anytime soon. I think you still have time to develop that into something else. But uh, where's his age at? 39. Yeah, he's 39.
Yeah. So
So you
I
don't
think you
have
got to
you,
do something with Santos now.
so you don't have a
I think you
so
can
you don't
make him a
have
really credible heel.
so you don't have a lot of time, but you still have some time. But yeah, you're right. Like I think if you're gonna do anything with him, it's got to be sooner than later. So I think him getting the win makes sense here.
He's
But
right in that age group with Roman Reigns, with Cody Rhodes. He's
yeah,
gonna be just fine. You can build him up, give him some credibility. You got to give him some credibility. He's got to pick up some heavy wins if you want him to be a staple in the business, and you want to build up. I mean, who knows? He could be the next Alberto Del Rio, right? Like it could be something along that line. So
without all the other
without the bad
without
stuff,
the other
right?
extra
Without
stuff. Hopefully, character wise, I see where you're going, but personal, like maybe not so much. Maybe that's
who's been the biggest name for Mexican wrestling outside of Rey Mysterio in the past 10, 15 years? It's probably Alberto Del Rio,
are we
right?
talking are we talking WWE or we're talking
WWE.
okay, um, other than Rey Mysterio?
Other than Rey Mysterio.
God, I can't really. I mean, I might be doing somebody a disservice, but I can't really think of it off the top of my
We're
head.
talking
That tells
we're
you
talking
something.
legitimate champion. Heavyweight.
Tells you something. Well, that's what they were building that guy up for before he got before his eventual downfall. That was your guy. That was your next that was your next Mexican American hope or whatever. That guy, and it obviously did not work out. But ever since then, I can't. Like I said, I may be doing somebody a disservice. I don't know, but I can't think of one. It's always just been Rey Mysterio. It's always just been Rey, and yeah, I can't truly think of one. I think maybe they were trying to see if they could do it with Andrade, and that quite didn't work out. Although I think that was a lost opportunity now because once again that's another one where I feel like in the Triple H regime, I think he would work because he did. He took NXT by storm, and he did. Like I loved everything they were doing with him there. Then when it came over to the main roster, I hated everything they did with them here, and that was just because there was two different things. NXT was not the same as the main roster because there were two different things. So once you were here, you came over here, you were completely different. It's not how it is anymore. You're over here, and you just make a transition over here now, and it's a lot better for these guys. I think they can easily transfer over from what they were into NXT over to the main roster now. and that's why I think, man, that was a drop ball that I wish they could have had. I wish they would have a second chance at, because I think that guy had it. I think that guy had an opportunity, but oh well. But now,
Andrade was a perfect fit for WWE.
but
It's
now,
really sad that he's left. He's gone.
yeah, but now you could have an opportunity here with one of these other guys. That's what you're gonna try to build. But yeah, I don't. To answer your question, I don't know. I don't think so. I
Yeah, I
mean,
gave that match a, solid B minus. I didn't.
that one I'm not sure if I said
Uh,
that. Did I say C plus? I gave that one a C plus.
yeah,
Solid,
I gave it a B
solid,
minus. It was pretty low grade.
solid TV match on a premium live event. Like
Only reason
you
even
could
made it into the B was because Santos is still really good.
you could have had that. You could have had that on SmackDown, and it would have been the same match, in my opinion. But
Hmm.
I thought it was, for the placement. I thought it was good, and I thought that it helped kind of cleanse the palate after two very very hot matches to start off the card. Then you move on to match 4, which was another one that I was kind of like iffy about from the beginning, from when we were talking about it on Monday, which was the Rhea versus Zoe match for the title. Obviously, once again, no doubt in my mind that Zoe's not winning the title here. That Rhea's gonna win. They're saving her for something else. This was kind of a palate cleanser for her. Uh, the attire, uh, Rhea Ripley's attire. Whew, that's an A plus by itself. Good lord.
Oh, Lord, I missed the simple Rhea Ripley, but yeah, she was extra that night.
and and of course in this match, because like I said, you don't do anything over the last couple of weeks to build Zoe up as a credible opponent. So what happens? This is the first match, the only match really, that Chicago like shat on the face. They did not like Zoe Stark. They were all about mommy, and they booed Zoe Stark every chance they
Why should
could.
they?
Yeah, because
Why
they
should
did.
they not?
Because
Why should they be
they don't give them no
interested?
reason to. They don't give them no reason to be like
And
to
you
be
got two
excited for
heels
'em.
against each other, which doesn't work either.
Well, they're trying to they tried to make Zoe a baby face, and that's what they were doing ever since they broke up her and Trish, but it hasn't been enough development and time invested into it, I think, to take her seriously as a credible babyface challenger, and it showed. She gave, I mean, no doubt, in ring work is good. I thought they had good back and forth again, but this was Rhea's match from beginning to end, no doubt about it. The crowd shat on it.
Hmm.
Did not take Zoe seriously. Booed her many times until Rhea Ripley just wins with the Riptide and game over.
Yeah, yeah. It was this was that's what I wrote was it was just a Monday Night Raw match. I wrote that for this match.
Yeah.
This was my worst match. This was a C. This was a C for me because there's no build up. There's no credibility to Zoe Stark right now for all the reasons that you just mentioned. I think there was a potential botch off the top rope too, where it looked like Zoe could have really gotten hurt. I think she over rotated. I mean, her in ring work, I wouldn't say that it's completely crisp yet. Um,
No, it still needs a little bit of work. It's a work in progress
it
on that
needs
one.
it needs a little bit of work, but the problem, I don't. I'm not gonna be too hard on Zoe Stark. It's not her fault. She has no credibility. It's once again the things I've been saying all night long is if you want credible challengers, you have to build them up, and they cannot get wins against Zelina Vega. You ain't gonna build no credibility like that, right? You gotta get a few wins, right? You look at the past, you look at the history, right? Now I know Chris Jericho was a big name, but when he really, really took the world by storm and people took him serious in WWE, he beat The Rock and Stone Cold in the same night. He picked up two big wins and nobody saw that coming. After that, Chris Jericho was lightning in a bottle because it was like, holy crap, this man has
Sure.
entered that stratosphere. And you look at some of the heels, or even some of the wrestlers over the past few years, when they get those big wins, they usually get them. Nobody sees them coming, and that's what
Mm-hmm.
makes them legitimate, right? So you gotta build some of these women wrestlers up because you cannot just have Bailey winning again. You can't just have all the same people winning again, because then Zoe Stark's never gonna get a shot to be credible, right? You gotta build up, and they gotta get wins against solid wrestlers. They cannot just get wins against the undercard girls and then get served up so that way Rhea Ripley. Right now, who are we looking at? Who's next? Zoe Stark's gonna go back to Nowhere Land. Who are we looking at for Rhea Ripley next? Who on the? Well, I guess you can say there's quite a bit of faces that could probably challenge her,
Well,
but
and this is
you know,
this is where I was talking about earlier, where I agree with that, right? That when are you gonna build a credible challenger for her? But now there's no premium live event until Rumble, unless they announce something over the next couple of weeks. But typically, when there is gonna be a next event, it would have already been announced that there's like this is the next time we're gonna be on on Peacock or whatever. And the only thing that they kept announcing was the Royal Rumble in January. So I think that's the next PLE. So I don't think if you're gonna have a TV title match with Rhea, it's gonna be another like maybe it's not gonna be anybody like super credible because I think you have to keep that until the Rumble, and I think that's where you can create another challenger for her. Um, and it's got to be one of the big ones at that point. And I understand what you're saying. You have at some point you do have to start making some of these younger people credible. Unfortunately, when it comes to this title reign and Rhea, I think it has to be someone that is a big name. And
what about
I think that's where
what
you
about
might
the young lady coming over from AEW that has yet to make an
that
appearance?
one I think my theory on that and my scenario like my fan booking of that one I think is you present her at the Rumble. That's her first.
Okay.
That's her first like in ring match because I don't think that it does anything for her. I mean, this is just me, right? I'm just talking. I don't think it does anything for her if you bring her out. Let's just say tomorrow, and her first match is tomorrow against Nikki Cross or somebody like that. Not to shit on Nikki
Oh,
Cross, not to shit on Nikki Cross, but you know what I mean. Like her
I think
first,
Nikki Cross shits
like
on Nikki Cross.
like her first match is against a person that's not that's not in tier A. It's a person in tier B and C, right? And she just squashes her. Yeah, cool. There's Jade Cargill. She's a big monster. She's gonna squash these people leading up to a big moment. I think with a person like this, the way you've been selling her to us is that she's already big time. She doesn't need
Yes.
she doesn't need a build up. She's already big time the way you've been presenting her. So how do you do that? You don't put her up against a tier C person, a tier B person. And you don't put her up against one on one against a tier A person because you don't want that tier A person to lose yet either, right? That's why you don't bring her in against a Rhea right now, right away, or you don't bring her up against a Becky right now because if she beats Becky or she beats Rhea, then it's like, oh, I mean, it creates that oh shit, like she's really really credible, holy crap.
There you go.
But with the timing of how everything is working out right now, there's no time to do it because you can't do it between now and Rumble. There's just nothing there. So what better way to do it than to debut her at the Rumble? Have her first match be the Rumble. Does she win it? Maybe, maybe not. But you give her an opportunity to showcase her against 29 other superstars. Give her a massive good showcase. Make her one of the last two at least, right? And then go from there. Now you have an opportunity to take that person that just showed you that she can compete with 29 other people in the same night and look really, really badass, either win the match or come this close, right? Now you build her up for that next spot, whoever that's going to be. And I don't even say that she needs to be in a title match at WrestleMania. I think as long as you give her a program with one of the big dogs, my dream match for her in scenario is to get to a point where you can get that Bianca and Jade Cargill match at WrestleMania. I think those are your two. Like, I think that's a superstar. That's a superstar match in that one. But she's the one that you can bring in, like you just said, and possibly be that next big thing that you can build off of. But with the way you're presenting her, you have to get it right. I think you have to get it right the first time. If you don't, then you might lose out on that. That's my opinion.
Yeah. So I
But
totally get what you're saying, right?
mhm.
She can't come in and she can't. I mean, it might work both ways, right? I think the Rumble, you're 100% right about that. What I will say is that I don't think it would hurt her to come in and have a few tune-up matches so people start getting a whiff of who she is. Do we have a show for her yet? Is she on SmackDown Raw?
That's why I think
No,
the
not
Royal
yet. Okay,
Rumble
so
is
she
the
hasn't
perfect
even.
opportunity.
So I'm gonna say though that if she does come in and have a few matches, I would like to see her against somebody competitive. You know, maybe she comes out and beats. Maybe she comes out and she wrestles. I don't want to throw her up against the big dogs right away, but
See, that's what
somebody
I'm saying.
legitimate,
Like,
right? But I do think it helps her to beat one of the big dogs legitimately. I do think that that works because now you put some credibility. Like, oh, she beat Bailey clean, right? She's beaten her. She's other people, Charlotte, Becky. They're starting to watch her on the TV on the Tron, right? And they're saying, holy crap, right? Like, who is this girl? And they're
mm-hmm.
starting to say, like, who is this girl? This Cargill, right? Who is she? And everybody starts asking that question of like, oh, she just beat Asuka,
Mm-hmm.
right? She just beat somebody. She hasn't beaten everybody yet. But then you got the two big dogs at the top, which is Becky and Charlotte, right? Because those are Becky, Charlotte, and Bianca, right? I would say that
Mm-hmm.
those are probably the three most dominant pieces right now in
Yeah.
WWE. If you're gonna do a program with them, and it does work, but you gotta build her up as somebody who has legitimacy. Like, she has to have beaten some people before she gets there, because now we know she's a favorite to win the Rumble. I think that the problem with her going in there cold and just showing up is that unless you're an AEW fan, you probably don't know who she is coming
That's
into
fair.
the Rumble, and she doesn't have any steam to be taken seriously, right? So what I want is for them to, because here's the thing, Asuka's not going to lose any reputation by losing to somebody like this.
No,
Bailey neither.
she
These
never
people
has.
are, they're solidified. They are bona fide women's wrestling gurus. They can come back at any moment in time and re-win and get back up there. They'll never lose their reputation, right? Even if Jade goes on to WrestleMania, which, like I said, she probably won't win her first
Mm-hmm.
year. I think that every wrestler that comes in, especially from another promotion, has to pay their dues before they get over that big hump, especially at WrestleMania. Might be a little bit different now in the Triple H era, but there's a lot to go behind the scenes, right, of trusting these new wrestlers with holding onto the belt, because you have to be reliable, you have to be consistent, you have to be all those things that WWE needs you to be, right? And the current champions, we know that they are that already.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say, I would like to see her get a few wins. I want to see some competitors get legitimate wins. Io Sky, right? They built her up because she got legitimate wins. And I mean, the girl's just exciting to watch. But now, we're all looking at Io as like, when are you going to lose a belt? Because you're going to drop it. You're going to drop it pretty soon. So,
Yeah.
good. Yeah, I was going to say, we're looking at Io Sky. She's going to drop the belt pretty soon because we don't take her as serious as we take some of the other 1v1 competitors, right? Some of the other big women. It's fine. Charlotte, she's fine. She's proven time and time again. She loses a match,
Mm-hmm.
she's still the queen. She comes right back,
Yeah.
and she's always a threat to win. I
Sure.
think some of these wrestlers need to help. If you ever want to have a really competitive scene, because I'll tell you what happens if you bury Jade, you've got the same mix to
Oh
work
no
with.
no
It's
no
just
no.
if
I
you
I
bury
I,
her
I
and you let her lose,
I think no
you get the
matter
same
what you
mix again.
can't. I think no matter what you can't. You can't. This is an opportunity again to do something potentially special, to build somebody special, and she's really, like, if we want to talk about young people, she's really young too. Like, she's got a lot of time. Uh, that she, I mean, you could build her up for the next 10 years if you want her, if you want to. And she's got the look. She's got. I can't say right now if she's got the voice yet. We're gonna find out sooner or later. But I do think whatever it is you decide to do with her, it's got to be noticeable and big from the get go, because that's how you've presented her. That's why I think presenting her in such a small way would not work, because of the way that you've built her up and that you presented her. You presented her as she can be a main event in each one of these shows. That's how you're presenting her. That's not that's your fault for presenting her like that to me, right? To the casual fan of, she's supposed to be a big deal, right? Well, let me see her do a big deal thing then, right? So maybe you're right. Maybe you do need to bring her out and have her beat
What if
one
she?
of the established people. But I do think if you want to, you can start within the next couple of weeks of building up that once again, bringing her back out, noticing her again, and telling everyone she's going to be in the Royal Rumble, and you better watch out for Jade Cargill in the Royal Rumble. This is where it kind of sucks where the two programs, I know they're two different businesses. They don't ever want to work with each other. This is where you miss on that because you could showcase like what she did and be like, and if people could at least see it, you could be like, damn, look at what she did over there at AEW. But unfortunately, you can't. So like you can't show video clips of her, or you can't even make a video package of her or anything like that, other than what you have to work with because you just can't. And but it is what it is. But
I mean,
yeah,
here's a crazy thought.
that's a
What
way. Uh huh. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, here's a crazy thought. What if she beats Rhea clean, but for not for the belt? What
Like
if
just
she beats her
yeah,
prior to like just a exhibition match,
that would be
just to
shocking.
showcase her, and then it's like whoa, and Rhea's like whoa, even if it's just like a roll up or something like that, and it's like I got you once now,
That would be
and people are
shocking.
like, hey, Rhea hasn't been beaten in a long time.
Yeah.
No, she goes into Rumble with some sort of a little bit of like under her belt, right? Like a little bit of
Yeah.
momentum, and people are questioning whether or not. And then what if that's her match? That's her opponent because
That would
Rhea
be
right now
shock.
doesn't have another opponent
That would be
lined up.
that would be pretty shocking. I tell you that. Yeah, it would get the eyes open for sure. They got 9 weeks, like we've said, to figure it out, to put something together before the Royal Rumble comes around. It'll be interesting just to see what they decide to do with a lot of things over the next 9 weeks. That was pretty much. I mean, that was the last match before the main event came about, and so overall, I was I enjoyed Survivor Series. Um, I think I gave Survivor Series as a show total. I think I gave it a B plus. It had some really cool moments. None of the matches really came off to me as like, wow, that was the best match of the year. Like I didn't really get that feeling from any of the matches at Survivor Series, but they kept me entertained. There was a lot of wow moments, um, and it was a pretty good, entertaining show from start to finish. Of course, with the way it ended, it was just that shocking return. Um, B plus solid show. Um, I would definitely go back and watch it at least one more time, kind of thing. Like if I wanted to watch the show again, I wouldn't mind going back and watching the whole show again. Um, so I thought that's what I thought about Survivor Series. I thought it was good. It was very good laid out from start to finish. I thought the card was you started off hot and you ended hot. Pretty good, not too bad. Where we go from here, I guess it remains to be seen. There's a lot of different things, a lot of different ways you can take all these things. Of course, the addition of a CM Punk just really throws everything for a loop. Whatever plans were there definitely are going to change a little bit now, but it remains to be seen what happens on Monday. Starting on Monday, this is a whole crazy thing. What a way to end the year! If this is the last PLE of the year, what a way to end it.
Yeah, it was a victory lap for sure. I think Survivor Series was definitely a victory lap for the faces, the big names of the business, and then bringing in people that are going to be very integral for 2024.
Mm-hmm.
The road to WrestleMania, right? You got
Mm-hmm.
Randy Orton coming
Yeah.
back. You got CM Punk in the mix now. Um, the wrestling itself for me it definitely felt like a victory lap. I'm gonna give it a B minus, just based off all the grades that I was able to roll out already. Because it was a victory lap, I think that's why there was not that many competitive matches, and there was two stinkers on the card, right? Which was the Rhea Zoe, and then Santos Dragon. So truthfully, there was two good War Games matches, and then Miz and Gunther, right? So there was only five
Mm-hmm.
matches on the card,
Yeah.
and then you have two returns. One return spoiled the other, and then the return for CM Punk, while it was a pop, I'm sure we all wanted to see CM Punk do a little bit more, probably be in the ring, probably have an opponent revealed at Survivor Series of like, oh, I'm coming for you, like I'm coming for you, Seth, or something like that, right? Like talking a little trash at one of the guys in the ring or
Sure.
something like that, where it's like we're
Yeah.
oh, this is what we have to look forward to on Monday Night
It's all
Raw, right?
it's all subjective for sure. But just the moment, it's like I was talking about before. That I feel like in this era now, in the Triple H era, it's about moments, right? It's about being able to make a moment in time that you'll never be able that you'll rarely be able to have, right? And in this Triple H era versus this is the big difference in my opinion from Triple H to Vince McMahon. Not that Vince McMahon wasn't good at it at one point, right? But over the last couple of years, those big like eye-catching moments have been gone from the WWE because of stubbornness, because of whatever it is, right? Whatever the whole thing was, it was very very cookie cutter a lot of the times. And I mean, when you saw just as a fan or whatever, right? Not saying you got to do fan service all the time, but you live for moments. The best moments in wrestling that I can think of are the moments that I can remember that I didn't expect coming, right? Expecting, expecting these guys, certain guys to come back or expecting certain things to happen. Those are the best things, right? And if there's one thing you can give Triple H over the past, year and a half since he's taken over, he's created moments. He's created a lot of just moments, and it's cool. It's fun. It makes wrestling and all of that fun again. Fun to be a part of, fun to watch, exciting to watch again. I mean, I've always watched. It's not like I have stopped watching, but having these kinds of moments and being able to do them, and then they actually do them. This is not something that I thought that WWE would do two years ago. Like I would love for them to create these moments, but they never really did, or the moments were just kind of like every now and then it'd be like, oh, well, that was kind of cool, that was kind of neat. But now these eye popping moments, the moments that get eyes on back on the screen for sure, are they're just it's cool to see that they're actually taking the chances on them. They're actually taking the chances on it. Even just last year with the Bray Wyatt thing, God rest his soul. Um, I didn't know if he was ever going to come back again, you know, and but Triple H took over and created that moment, and that's a moment in time that we can always go back and look and say, regardless of what happened afterwards and whatnot, that moment was amazing. It was badass. It was cool. It was like, wow, they actually did it. Like I didn't think that they would, and they did. That's what happened last night. A moment that I didn't think they were really gonna do it. It was like they aren't really gonna do this. This is not what WWE does. They don't bring guys like this back. Or they don't do things like this anymore. Like it's not gonna happen, right? Like there's no way it can. Then the music hits, and it's like the motherfucker actually did it. Like the motherfucker actually did it. And whatever happens between now and the end of his contract, which from what I read, I think he signed. Now that's not confirmed, but I think he signed a 3-year deal. I think that's the standard for most WWE contracts right nowadays. It's about 3 years, 3-year deals. Obviously, those deals can be extended because of injuries and stuff like that. But I think the standard deal is about 3 years nowadays. So I don't think they were gonna bring him back unless they were gonna get some kind of a of term commitment with him. I think that's how they've gone with everybody really. They're not gonna sign anybody unless they feel that they have enough time with you, which is about that 3 years. Cody signed a 3-year deal when he came back, and I think Punk has done the same thing. So they got 3 years to, and I think that's about right. That's about the time frame before Punk even came back to WWE. That's about the time frame I gave him for his wrestling career at this point. I think he got about 3 or 4 years left, and then he pieces out. I thought he was going to do that with AEW. I thought he was going to go and spend 3 or 4 years and then right off into the sunset. Now he has the opportunity to do it here in WWE, where I feel like he might be better suited under this new Triple H regime. It remains to be seen. It's exciting though, and I'm happy that WWE is willing to make these moments. Whether or not they end up working out or not, it is exciting to see that they're at least willing to take the chance to give us something. Versus in the past, where they were not willing to take chances to give us anything, instead shoving what they thought was right down our throats. That makes sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
I
that's
guess we'll find out
so
tonight.
from that, regardless of how you feel about it, that's where I am excited about it. Obviously, I've always been a fan of CM Punk and whatnot, and I'm excited to see what he can do in his second run. But that's what I'm most excited about. That this new WWE, in whatever form it is now, is willing to do just anything, and no, nothing is off limits anymore. Nothing is. If you're willing to bring back a guy like this that shit on your product for the last 10 years, literally did on live television too.
Yep.
If you're willing to do that, you're willing to do anything, and we'll just have to see how it goes. And it makes it exciting, and we're gonna be headed into WrestleMania season before we know it. But yeah, good show, good night, fun night, great time to be a wrestling fan in my opinion. And we'll see where everything goes starting on tomorrow on Monday. I think, if I'm not mistaken, we don't have a zero here, but I think our plan is to do another one of these after tomorrow night, right?
Correct.
All right, so
Yeah,
yep.
looks
I mean, we
looking
have
for
to, right?
answers.
I mean, we have to, right? I mean, there's so many things that we're looking for answers because
So
we
many
did, because
answers
like
we
you
need.
said, we didn't get them. We didn't get them last night. We didn't really get answers that we may have been looking for. We got hints and steps forward, but we didn't get those answers. Maybe we can get something a little bit clearer tomorrow. It'll be interesting to see if CM Punk gets a promo. I would imagine, why wouldn't you put him out there tomorrow to do his first in-ring promo? I think personally that's how you should start the show. I don't think you
I
save
hope
him.
so.
I don't think you save him till the last segment. I think you bring him out, you give him a mic, and you say, "Go for it. Here you go. No script, no nothing. Just go out there and let what you feel you need to let out, and then go from there." But we'll be back. Hopefully, we'll get this recorded after the show, and then we'll hopefully get this pumped out on Tuesday. Any final thoughts before we head out here?
First reactions Monday night. See what happens with the punk
with
the punk era part
with
2.
the CM Punk era part 2. We called it. At least I called it on Monday. I said it's gonna happen. We're gonna be back here. We're gonna be talking about CM Punk, and we sure did. So it wasn't a waste of time. I told you it wasn't gonna be a waste of time.
Remains to be seen.
It wasn't gonna be a waste. At least the talk on Monday wasn't gonna be a waste of time. I didn't waste our time. It was worth it. We got here. We're here. Let's move forward and see how everything goes. Randy Orton's back too. Want to see what happens with him. What do they do with him going forward? So many good things. We'll come back here on Monday. Maybe this will be uploaded by, hopefully by Tuesday. We'll get it out for you guys. But thanks for joining us again. Remember to like, subscribe, leave your comments, all that fun stuff. And we will see y'all hopefully Tuesday morning. Peace out. Y'all have a great weekend.
Peace out, guys.